Installation of NAV Easy Security for roles and logins is a quite simple process. First, you have to export the objects to text, and that's needed for the source code analyzer. A partner license is typically required for that, but if you have 7200 or the more advanced development, you can actually do that yourself as a customer also. Then we have to import the Easy Security objects. We have to run the installation wizard. We import the demo roles and our demo role groups, and then we can set up additional companies for launching. Let's go open up NAV, and this one is a demo database. Only thing that has been done is that has been created 2 users in here. So the first step was to export all the objects. And to export all the objects, you would need access to use the function up here, export, and you will need to export as text down here. And if I try to do it here with the demo license, it won't work. So I would need to switch to my other license. This file don't need to be created right at the time when you run the install in here. It can actually be created ahead of time, so you just have it ready when you actually need to use it for the installing here. So well, let's go in and select all the objects, export them to a text file. While this one is going on, I'm going to download the objects. The objects are available on mergetool.com's website. You can click on the download tab out here, and I'm going to download the latest version of Easy Security. There also is a lot more resources out here, documentation and FAQ. There's a history page for each of our products and so on. So, but let's take a look at this downloaded file in here. I'm going to uncompress this file, and I'm going to put it in my temp folder out here. So we got this new folder with the latest version of Easy Security. We have some conversion and integration code. We have language modules for 2009, 2013 and later. We have objects for each version of NAV in here, and this one is only for the executable. We have some templates for the SQL profiler. There's a complete online help. It also has a lot of the documentation in it. There's online help for the 2013 R2 and later environment in here also. Then we have some demo data, including a spreadsheet that explains what is the concept and what roles have been added with this new demo data for NAV security. But the export of the objects to text here is almost done. The text file is needed to know exactly the code that is in the database, and that's one of the benefits of Easy Security, that we actually are using the actual source code in the database, and we don't really care then if it's a code from Microsoft, from an ISV, or it's custom developed. But let's import the new objects, and I had my ES14041 in here. It's delivered as a FOB file, and I'm in 2013 R2 down here. There's 3 files in here. The first one is a menu suite file, and we have one menu suite we're using 1052. If you already have used that one, you can import a different number from this file, but only import one menu suite. So I'm going to select this one first. There was no conflicts, and if I actually go here and take a look at my menu suite, I'll see that I don't have a conflict with existing. It's saying create out here. So I can just import these ones, 233 new objects in here. We have one more file, and that file should only be imported the first time, because when you run the field level and data security install, we'll modify a few of these objects in here. But you need them in the database to be able to have access to import them. So I'm just going to import this one. It's 4 new code units. So I'm just going to click OK in there. To ensure everything works fine, I'm going to compile all the Easy Security objects, and they all start with ES. So I had my 4 code units, and then I had my 233 other objects. Menu suites are kind of tricky to get working. So to ensure the menu suite works properly in the Windows client, you would need to compile all the menu suites in here also. Okay, so I need to compile menu suites, and remember to remove all filters here, and then use the function to compile those ones also. Okay, so we're done for the client with inside the classic client. So let's go back into the Windows client now. To protect the data for security, we use a different company in here. It also makes it easy to actually restart. So I'm going to create a new company in here. You don't need any data because we will be able to record from any company or even any database actually inside this environment. So I'll create a company called Easy Security. I'll go select my new company. And then we initialize a company, but I don't need anything in here. The whole idea is a security company is only being used for a few people in here. If I go to the department menu, I'll see my new Easy Security menu group down here. I'll click on roles and logins, and to launch the installation wizard, I need to click on security setup. For this company, I want to do a complete setup, and you can only have one of these companies in a database. So if you want to redo the setup, you have to delete the other company where the setup has been run in here. Only thing I would have to do is to select my location for my source code file. And I put it in my C temp drive in here. But the service tier typically runs on a different computer, so it's important in this case to put it in a location where the service tier will actually be able to see the file. It's not your local client, but it's a service tier that will read this file. So in my case, I actually have a path in here where I shared a folder. That folder had access both for the network service and for me as a user in here. So that's where I actually can read this text file from. Then I will click on Initialize Complete Setup. First thing is to create a new role center for Easy Security. After that, it creates a restore point, and that basically means it takes a snapshot of the current permissions inside Easy Security. So first of all, you can use it to compare against in the future, but it's also being used to move all the data into Easy Security, copy the data. After that, it starts the source code analysis, and it will run for a little while here. If this one runs really slow, it's typically because the file with the text file is placed in a location that is not very optimal for the service tier. Best way of doing this one is actually to share a folder directly on the service tier and then use the export function to write that file directly on the service tier. That will run the most efficient. Source code analysis was now finished. Now it's creating roles. It's doing an update of something called all3, and it will finish the setup in here. So I can go ahead and close this one. Easy Security is now set up the same way as we default suggest. The only thing to normally go do is actually go to object properties in here and select which object should be denied and so on. If you ended up exiting out of the wizard, you could actually click on the Setup Easy Security up here, and it will rerun the wizard until it completes and set the publish allowed down here. In that setup screen, I could also have imported my role demo data and my role group demo data, but we're going to do that manually in here. My users was copied into Easy Security. My roles, there was in standard was copied in here. I will now import my additional role demo data in here. And this one is the file with the role demo data. There is around 10,000 records in the standard NAV security. This roles demo data that's being imported in here, that's more than 25,000 records. So it's a lot more complex setup, but a lot simpler to use because it's based on segregation of duties in here. So all these roles with E underscore was added down here. We can also go import our row groups that we have. So it's again a file in the installation folder. And again, I shouldn't use my ctemp. I'm using this path here on the shared path as a UNC path because that's how the service tier can get to the same files I can. So now I have all my row groups. I have all the extra roles imported. Easy Security is actually now set up and fully functional. The last thing to do in here to check that everything works fine is to go publish permissions. Since I haven't changed anything, I actually just going to test that everything works in here because all the users have the exact same permission as they used to have in here. But I can go in here and say publish, and it will push my new permissions, or it will push the new data that was added in here out to the live one. So the only thing that really will happen is all my new roles will be added. And because this writes a lot of data, it actually takes longer than publish normally would do for the last piece that is writing it in here. Again, as normal, when it actually changes permissions, it will always create a restore point. So you always have a way to go back to the previous point of permissions when you change them in here. So now it's the last piece. It's writing the restore points here in a few seconds. And now it's actually writing the changes. And this one takes a little longer because of all the new roles that was added in there. Typically, this process of writing only takes a few seconds. Changelog by default has been set up to these tables, and it's not something that can be disabled by changing data. It's actually hard-coded to use the security table. So all these changes are also being tracked by changelog. So that actually causes it to be somewhat longer in the writing process. But again, it's a double way of seeing everything that's actually changing in security. So the publish finished, all the new permission has been published out to the live data out here. Right now, this company has been set up, and there is a feature in here that is called launching objects. It used in all the new roles that were imported an ability to launch objects without needing to know all the places to go in NAV to actually record a role in here. Of course, we want to use that feature in the real company in here. So let's switch to my second company in here. And it can be set up in as many companies as you want in here, of course. I'll go back to my security setup. And if I try to launch it right now, it will say security setup does not exist in here. So the things I need to do, click on security setup. I'll say I want to initialize a recording only setup. It already filled in the values necessary, and I can just click on initialize recording only setup in here. And now it knows that the data for launching objects can be retrieved from that company over here. So I can go in here and now click on launch objects, and everything in here works fine. So, but that's conclude the setup of the roles and logins part of the Easy Security.